While working the evening shift as a patrol supervisor, dispatch informs you that approximately 2,000 demonstrators representing a nationwide movement that is protesting the shooting of African American citizens by police officers is blocking traffic, disrupting business downtown, creating excessive noise through the use of bullhorns, burning flags, and hanging mannequins dressed as police officers from light poles in the street. Arriving officers inform you that several local and at least one national news network are on scene, as well as a nationally famous citizen activist. How would you handle the situation?
In this scenario, uh, you have to determine whether the demonstration is lawful or not lawful. In this scenario, the demonstration would not be lawful, and we would have to attempt to stop the demonstration. I would have officers respond to the scene, but not directly to the scene, so they could observe and communicate what they saw. Prior to arrival, I would notify area hospitals that a possible incident may occur. I would notify ERT commander for an ERT callback. I would notify mutual aid for additional officers because of the large amount of protesters. I would notify any traffic units that could shut down surrounding streets prior, outside the scene, that they could stop any traffic from entering the area. Upon my arrival, I would I would also, prior to my arrival, tell the officers not to intervene unless there was imminent risk to life, and then they could safely enter the scene and mitigate that danger to life safely. Upon my arrival, I would implement the 7 critical tasks of a critical incident, including command and control of the scene, which would include having all arrival units to switch to a tactical channel. I would have officers act as liaisons to responding units out of outside agencies such as fire, EMS, or any other outside agencies. I would assign officers as liaisons. I would establish what the hot zone or kill zone was, and establish an inner perimeter around it. The inner perimeter would maintain that no additional demonstrators entered it, nobody from the inner perimeter exited, and I would also have an outer perimeter where officers would protect from outside people entering where the first responders were working. I would also establish a command post which would communicate with various agencies and the chain of command. For example, my lieutenant would be notified, and I would be in constant communication with him, providing updates as the scene unfolded. I would also implement a staging area for all officers to respond to, where they could don their riot gear and other gear that they needed prior to their issuing their post. I would form also resources such as maybe a skirmish riot team, so they can immediately respond if we need to immediately respond before we could have enough officers on scene for full disbursement in order to preserve some kind of life. So if a citizen was being actively hurt, we could respond and we could extract that citizen without the purpose of dispersing the entire crowd. After the implementation and the disbursement of the demonstration, I would complete an SIR of the incident as well as an unusual of the incident. In my SIR, I would include and investigate probably community relationship failures that occurred, in which there appears to be no communication within the community that this demonstration was going to occur. I would also attempt to contact community leaders and establish lines of communication and trust with them to ensure that future incidents and this incident would be resolved and not escalate. I would also document any deficiencies in our response, and also any deficiencies in training or equipment that was needed. The SIR would be submitted to my lieutenant and to the chain of command. While the incident unfolded, there would be many resources and agencies counted. I would have to notify booking that there might be large arrests made. I would have to contact the XO to possibly do callbacks, possibly coordinate people bringing equipment out to the fields, such as riot shields, riot sticks, riot gear. XO may also conduct callbacks for people on overtime. I would also have to contact the public information officer to coordinate media liaisons for the various medias that would be wanting information regarding the incident. And that concludes my answer.
Okay, we should probably do an after-action review along with training opportunities to address deficiencies and commend people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we mention anything about extracting people after negotiation fails? We have to do that. That's essential. If nonviolent attempts to quell the unrest fail, then we need to identify the people who are the instigators, enter several officers who are preferably equipped, and enter, like in a wedge or diamond formation, extract the people who are fomenting discord, remove them, and that usually will have a dissipating effect upon the crowd. That has to be absolutely in part of your riot response. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it was an absolutely phenomenal answer. So that's the only thing I would add. Make sure you add that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part about the training opportunities afterwards. Good job.